Good morning, everyone. It is March 1st, 2025, Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And we have a lot to talk about today, but the first thing I want to say is that for all of you going through all the trauma and the bullshit at the White House, not at the White House and in the executive branch of the U.S. government, I feel for you. I really do. I'm so sorry you're going through all of that stuff. And if you're my friends, you've been watching all this stuff all this time. I've been trying to tell you that it was coming, but you know, here we are. And I hope you're doing well. I hope you're in a safe place, a good place where you can actually be real for yourself, but at the same time take care of your livelihoods. All the veterans who have been fired from the executive branch of the U.S. government, I'm so sorry. We got what we elected, right? got exactly what we voted for, and that's what's happening right now. So, you know, there have been a lot of people let go, fired, threatened to let go, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going to tell you, at the VA, I mean, it's just disgusting that we've had people laid off from the VA. Yeah, there might be some programs that you don't necessarily need. You want a clean house or whatever in some of those areas or whatever, fine. But don't take away from the care of our veterans and all of our veterans, and not just the cisgendered white veterans or the, whatever. If you're a minority population, you're beginning to feel this stuff. And if you voted for this freak in the White House, yeah, I'm going to be pissed about it. I am pissed about it. And if you voted for this, well, then you're getting what you voted for. But you're also impacting all the rest of us too in this minority population, okay? So let me see if I got any chat options over here on the side. I'm reestablishing myself on all these different platforms. I should be on YouTube, Facebook, I think, and LinkedIn and Twitter. So if you're watching, just say hi. Let me know you're there. But we got a lot to talk about, folks. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and the end is not in sight yet. If you think this is the end of it or whatever, if you think this is just a temporary little thing, a blip under the radar, well, I'm going to tell you, no, it's not. This is actually exactly what you voted for. You're getting it. Project 2025 and all the bullshit that's there in that program, in that book, in that project put out by the Heritage Foundation, we're seeing it enacted across the whole of the federal government and in some states as well. So you've got to start realizing what's going on and know that this is not the end of it. They're going to continue coming after anyone and everyone who has a different view than themselves. Their views, that what they're doing, this is ideologically driven. It's not based in any kind of reality or anything like that. It's ideologically driven. And oh my God, it's just aggravating. So for some time, for quite a few months, I was telling people about what was going to happen with Project 2025 and this new administration, this President Trump's administration, and what they were going to do. They were going to try to delete everything to do with sexual orientation, gender identity from the whole of federal government. They've done that. They're still doing it, and they're not done, actually. They are not done by any stretch of the imagination. They are going after them with everything they've got. This whole population of people, of Americans, they're fellow Americans that they just don't want to see in the public square. And if you think you're safe because you're gay or lesbian and not trans, you're not. They're coming after you too. They've always wanted all of those things gone, all those identities gone from the whole of the population in this country. They don't want to see them. None of it. None of it. They don't want to see any of that stuff around. They have been after gays and lesbians since when? I don't know, Lavender Scare back in the 50s. No, it's not ending now. These people are religiously motivated. Well, Matt Walsh actually describes himself as a theocratic fascist. Well, they are, period. It's more authoritarian dominionism kind of stuff. But I'm going to tell you, this is just craziness because they are absolutely deleting everything to do with gender identity right now. And if you think it's just about the kids, well, no, it's not. They use the kids to get you all mad about it. They use the kids to stir up your passions, and rightly so. I mean, that's right. No one should be out there doing drag queen story hours to children, because that is one of the things that pissed off half this country. But yet you do it, and then you keep pushing it, and you keep trying to do it, and you think that it's all right. I mean, it's all, there's nothing going on. Of course there's nothing going on. We all know that there's nothing going on there. It's the perception. And we have missed that big time. We've let them control the narrative on this topic, and we've lost it. So that's one of the issues that we just can't do that. You can't do that. You cannot be out there doing drag queen story hour to a bunch of kids. That is just a bridge too far for just about everyone around. You can't be going around and doing things like, I don't know, taking your top off at the White House. Look, I told you I'm going to be real about this. I told you that I'm going to be pointing in the right direction. I'm going to put the blame where it is and put, balls and strikes. I'm going to call balls and strikes on this whole darn thing. We have been our own problem. People in the transgender community, people in the gender diverse community, we've been our own damn problem, folks. We've been the ones causing our own demise. But it won't stop with us. They've never really wanted just to stop with us. Not ever. Put in requests that the Supreme Court take up marriage equality and all this stuff again. They want it removed from the federal protections. We're seeing in the state of Iowa, where the governor just signed into law the removal of a civil right protecting gender identity. You know how you're going to be certain excluded classes or protected classes, sexual orientations in there, sex, gender, not gender, but sex, whatever, your religious views, ideological views, all those kind of things, they're all protected. You can't discriminate against them, but in any kind of way, like in housing, employment, or anything. Well, Iowa just signed into law a bill that removes gender identity from that protected status. They're not going to stop with that. If you think that's the case, well, you've got another thing coming, folks. You have another thing coming. They're going after everyone within that complete umbrella of LGBT and Q and plus and whatever other acronym you want to stick in there. They've never wanted us to be in the public square. They don't want to see us around. And I feel for the people. I really feel for the people who are having a challenge with that and difficulty with that. And I know that we are strong. I know we're resilient. I know that we can do a lot of good things. And I know that we have a tremendous skill and talent and knowledge. I mean, we've got people right now in the active duty military who are space scientists and pilots and, and submarine officers and junior enlisted up people and senior enlisted people, every rank. We're there. We're doing the job. We're doing it honorably, but yet they don't want us there. Well, they're going to come after the others as well under that the sexual orientation umbrella. They're going to come after all of it. And if you don't think so, well, you haven't been paying attention because they are implementing Project 2025 right now. They're implementing it. If you don't know anything about it, you should have. I've been trying to warn you for a year or more about this thing. It is the craziest thing out there, put out by the Heritage Foundation. They're telling you right in that thing, right in the forward, Dr. Roberts says we want to delete all references to sexual orientation, gender identity across the whole of government. Delete it. They want to delete anything to do with research. They keep telling you it's a biological reality, but we know that's just craziness because they don't know the science, apparently. They're not aware that there's no such thing as a yes, no, on, off, whatever in biology. It's just not there. It's shady, it's grady, not grady. Anyway, it's kind of gray around the edges. It's fuzzy around the edges. There's no such thing as just being yes, no, male, female. No, that's the science, but they want to deny it. And here's the thing. They have the control of the research funding now, and they can stop research that even looks at this. They don't even want to know more about it. They talk a big talk about it, and then they want to go out here and go, no, we're not going to let you do the research either to prove who you are or what's been going on or whatever. Yeah, that's a double-edged sword for sure. But you get what you voted for. If you voted for this person in office, well, you're getting exactly what you voted for. Yeah, removal of populations within this country who do not look like, act like, sound like, believe like the rest of you, the other half. Okay. It's all over everything, everywhere. Like I mentioned just a second ago, Iowa's got the law that was just made a law, actually, that removed gender identity from protected status in their civil rights bills. It's coming to everywhere, folks. It's not just going to stop at one particular thing. And it's going to take a long time to fix it. So what do we do about this right now? What do we do right now about it? There's not a whole heck of a lot you can do that will actually have an impact on it. Marching in the street is not going to do it. You can make a big loud noise, but no, you've got Christian nationalists running the country right now. Authoritarian Christian nationalists, dominionism, who think that they've got the right to tell the government and everybody underneath them how to believe. And yes, it is an absolute disgusting nightmare right now. I've got friends who have been laid off from different positions and their positions challenged and threatened within NIH, the National Institute for Health, over at VA. Got amazing people whose livelihoods are being threatened because they stand up for people like transgender American veterans. But it's not going to stop there, folks. This thing is not over. This is just the first 2 months within this administration, and we're already seeing the vileness of what's happening right now. We're already seeing it. We know what caused all of this. We did. We brought it on ourselves. But let me just say that that's not the origins of it, though. The origin has always been their religious views do not allow for us, some of those religious views, not all of them, just the extremists, okay? Goes back all the way to the Lavender Scare in the 50s and all this kind of stuff, and Alan Turing, who, was basically killed because he was a gay man. This stuff goes on and on and on. People just don't like to see in their faces things that are different. But I'm going to tell you, we can't do that, though. We cannot hide anymore. We cannot pretend that our existence is optional. It's not. Who I am is who I am. With everything that you see about me right now, that's who I am, and you can just take a flying leap off the nearest bridge if you think I have no right to exist in this society. I'm going to be me all over the place. I am right now in eastern Kentucky up in a holler, okay? I'm here to take care of my family. And I'm so thankful that I'm in a place where I can actually do that, and I have the health and the ability and the resources to be able to make this happen for them. And that's just the way it is, folks. It's just the way it is. I am here. I am not hiding anything about who I am. I am me everywhere, all out in the community, wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, I'm always there, plainly visible. Some of you can't do that. I know it. I know that. But I want to tell you something. The safest place that I've ever been is right in the middle of the street, living my life as me, where I want to go, plainly visible and not trying to pretend something else. This is what you see is what you get. Okay. And that's just the way it is. Not all of us are in that place where you can actually do that, but I'm sure hoping that you'll find the strength and the character and the whatever to make that happen, because right now we need more people standing up who are strong and can be with us in the middle of the street, being loud and vocal about it, but not being obnoxious either. We've got some people in this community who, and let me just get very real about this. Who are these Zezians anyway? This is transgender terrorist group, 6 people or whatever, or they killed 6 people. Did anybody in our community know that this group was going down the road towards extremism? Did anyone know that? Could anyone see it coming? Why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you stand up and put your foot down on that and say, this is enough, we can't go that route? Why did you not do that? What about this person who made a bomb threat, transgender person who made a bomb threat this past week somewhere? I don't know, exactly where I remember the news story. Didn't any of us in this community know of that person? I didn't, but did any one of us know what that person was thinking and doing and likely going to do? Why didn't you stand up and try to stop it? Why did we not stand up and say, Rose Montoya, you have got to, you screwed all of us by taking your top off at the White House. You made us all look like idiots. And I know it doesn't apply to all of us. Okay, I get that. I get it. But all it takes is one person that the right can latch onto and then go, this is what they're all like. And what do you think the right's doing right now over on Fox News and places like that? You're hearing about the Zizians yesterday. You're hearing about the trans bomber. Every time there's a shooting somewhere, what do they look for? To see if they're in the gender spectrum somewhere. They're trying to build a case against all of us from the actions of just one or two. And we cannot let that happen, folks. We've got to stand up and strongly resist and speak out against these actors who are doing crazy shit out there, okay? Whenever they do that, they harm all of us. It's going to be used as a wedge and a weapon against us. So we've got to stop it, folks. We've got to get control of that. Clean up our own house, you know? Stop with the stuff that draws attention to you and you know, and your if you're doing the drag queen story hour stuff out there, you know, I understand that that's just a theater and acting and stuff like that, but it's being used as a weapon against us, totally us, by the right. So we've got to get our house in order, and we've got to figure out a way to stop all of this and get control of it again. But right now, I'm going to tell you, right now, it's the most difficult, challenging thing you can possibly do because the cards are stacked against us. There are so many things out there that's going on within this current administration, the Trump administration, that seeks to destroy all of our recognition, not just in government, but in the public square too. And we are suffering because of it, folks. And we're going to pay the price for it. It's not stopping right now. I don't know what the end of this will be. I don't know how far it will go before somebody says, hey, that's enough, that's too much. The rest of the country, I hear, oh, no, you're focusing on some people that represent only about, what, 0.6% of the population? Any population anywhere in the world? 0.6%. You're making that 0.6% the enemy. You're making all of the grievances that are occurring in the country, you're placing them all on that 0.6%, okay? You're blaming them for everything. And that won't let up for a while. No matter how many times we go stand before some committee or whatever in Washington or in their state houses, the path is not good right now. But there's still hope, though. The hope is that, and that comes from those of us who can get in the middle of that street and make a loud noise and shout about it. And I'm not, like I said before, I'm not talking about getting that out there and marching and doing anything stupid like that. If you're thinking about that, you're wasting your time. It will have zero impact. It will be used against us, not supporting of us right now. Won't work. Wasting your time. So what do we do? Any suggestions? What do we do as a community? What do we do? We're veterans. We've got that going for us, but you know, with this administration, they don't give a damn about veterans. They don't give a damn about the military active duty people either. They really don't. That's just another preferentially treated group. So they're not going to do much to protect the veterans. As much as they talk about it, they still aren't, because, you know, it's one of those protected things and they just don't think they ought to be protected or preferentially treated. So there's a lot of crap going on. But I know that each one of you, every person out there, is strong and resilient and capable of standing up and saying, you know, this is me, and you can just get over your bad self. I am not changing me to fit you. However, I will suggest this. I would suggest this strongly, that if you are in this community, that what you do is you find some way to contribute to the society or contribute to your community where you live, work, and play right now. That local area, find a way to get involved. Find a way to be out there and, contributing to that society, to your communities. And I'm not talking about just the trans community, the trans veteran community, or anything like that. I'm talking about your local communities where people live and work and play and all that kind of stuff, right there where you are right now. What can you do to show them that you're just an ordinary person? Maybe a little different, but so what? Everyone's different. Thank God. So go find some way to be engaged in your local communities. Go out and do something good, not bad. I mean, if you're thinking about doing something stupid or, go out there and cause havoc and harm other people or yourself, then you need to get some help real fast. And if you want to, you can always just talk to me. You have my email address, I think. Most of you do. Let me see if I can find a little thing up here. Hold on. Captions. Da-da-da-da. Oh, here. Right there. Admin at Cassandra-LLC.com. Okay. Go right there. Send me an email or something. You can send it directly to that email address that's for this program. I'm trying to come back out and do a few more things. Basically, I just want people to know that I'm well, you can be well. You don't have to make a fool of yourself to be well and to be happy where you are. But we do have to be out visible and fighting for all of us. For me, that's a personal calling thing. It's one thing to be able to just stand up and say, hey, here we are, here we are, here we are. But it's another to be able to go, hey, look, I've got a bunch of people that I'm responsible for. I feel responsibility for them. I feel responsibility for making sure that it's in the minority populations, all of us, regardless of race, ethnicity, anything, sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, regardless of all those things, I feel that responsibility to be able to get out here and let everybody know what's going on. So right now in Eastern Kentucky, I'm taking care of mom and my, I'm a caregiver for mom, my brother, sister, cousin, and all of whom I love dearly and who are, not always accepting exactly or getting everything right, but I don't care. I don't care. I do protect a lot of things about who I am with a lot of people. But with these people, immediate family and stuff, well, I'm giving them the grace. I'm hoping that they'll be able to understand that this is who I am and this is who I'm always going to be, and I just have to accept that as it is. That part's not changing. Okay. But I've got some amazing family and I love my children. I have 4 children and 8 grandkids, and my gosh, I've got 3 17-year-olds right now. 3 17-year-old grandchildren. Oh my God, they're not children anymore. They're young people. We're scattered all over the country, and you'll find that we have represented many different branches of the service too, the military. And for me, it's Navy, Marine Corps, and for different ones, my children, the Air Force and National Guard and active duty Army and everything except Coast Guard and Space Guardians, I think. I'm hoping my grandkids go on up to serve as well. Yeah, I do think that service to the nation ought to be, it's an important thing to do, because you get a sense of more about what is out there rather than just those little places where you're from. So what are we going to do today, folks? We're going to sit around and do nothing. We're going to pretend that all is fine, or are we going to stand up and make a noise? And like I said, we don't want to make a noise. If you're thinking of doing something crazy, like bomb threats or guns or weapons or using anything like that, or doing anything just crazy, uh, and I find out about it, I'll let the authorities know. I'm not going to play games with this. If you're being an ass out there to other people and you're in this community, you're transient in this community and you're acting an idiot, I'm going to call you out on it. But I'm also going to call out the other side for making an issue of our lives. You know, we deserve every right, everything that we have fought and served for, folks. We deserve it. Our care, all of it. We deserve it. It should not be abridged or and challenged or threatened in any way. All right. I do think that we have made matters worse whenever we make a huge stinking big deal out of not being called the right name or not being called right pronouns or whatever. Get over it. Get over it. If you raise a stink now about all that stuff, then all you're doing is making it worse for you and for the rest of us. And that's the harsh reality of the matter. If you're out here doing crazy stuff and you're demanding and you're saying, hey, I've got to have it my way or no way or the highway kind of thing, well, look, I'm telling you what the reality is. The reality is if you're out here pushing those kind of things on people who don't want to hear it, and you're demanding and make a big stink on it, you're on some subway somewhere and somebody uses the wrong word to describe you, and you get all berserk about it, well, you've just made matters worse for the entire community. We've got to police ourselves internally for ourselves and not worry so much about what's going on with all these different things that people are trying to attack us right now, even though we do need to be aware of it. I mean, if you think your human rights are God-given, well, all you have to do is go look to Iowa. They just stripped that one protection out of their laws. Okay, people with gender identity protections who thought they had gender identity protections in Iowa. Well, c'est la vie. Man gaveth and man taketh away. That's the way it works. So, you know, there's been so many things that we could bitch about and complain about and all that kind of stuff over the last couple of days. But let me just put some things in perspective for you. There are some horrible things that have come out of this administration. There are also some things that I personally agree with. For instance, protecting Israel from the terrorist group Hamas. Absolutely. Fully support that. I fully support, this is me personally, I fully support Ukraine and its territorial integrity and in their fight for independence and freedom. I fully support them. And to me, it is myopic to think that protecting Ukraine is none of our business. It is myopic. It is crazy because we're all on this little planet together, folks. We're all in this world together. And what can happen there is embroil the whole of Europe in another war. But you can't back down to the KGB agent who is running Russia right now. Putin has always been KGB and will always be KGB. That's his mentality, that's his thinking, that's the way he approaches this world. He really does think that he's entitled to have a series of nations around him, nation states around Russia, protecting them. And we cannot give Russia land in Ukraine. That's Ukrainian territory and not Russian territory. I do fully support space exploration, going out into the moon and Mars and all that. I fully support all of that. Absolutely do. Always have. I believe that that's where we need to be focused in order for humanity to actually have a chance, you know, beyond the next asteroid strike. But that's just me. But the things that I despise greatly are the things that are coming out of this administration that attack my fellow Americans simply because of who they are. Okay, that is just so disgusting. Why is it anyone's business as to who we are or who we love or what's going on in our lives and how I present to someone else? As long as I'm not, you know, making a big stink out of it. Now we've done this ourselves for a number of years, decade probably. We've made a big deal out of these little things, and it's done nothing but just needle and needle and needle as larger population. And we only represent 0.6%. Now, if you add in a few allies and supporters, you might end up with 2% of the population. But hey, you know, right now, we've got to get our feet back on the ground. And we've got to start going out here and letting people know that we're not going anywhere, but do it in a respectful way. Don't be out there just being an asshole because you can be an asshole. Come on. Come on. Be a good person. We all are. Be a good person. Wherever you are, be a good person. Don't lay your expectations down at someone else's door and say that, you know, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and we don't want, you know, you're not acknowledging this and that. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Buck up and get your act together, because that is hurting us in every which way you can shake a stick at. You can't do that kind of stuff, folks. Now, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about, well, I don't know, trans women in athletics. Look, those of us in this field, in this community, who have done a little research and done some actual, you know, scientific research into things, know that there is no statistical difference. However, it's perception. And right now, the people controlling the narrative have made a big deal out of this. So if you're a trans person looking to participate in women's athletics, you know, I applaud you for wanting to be in athletics, but the perception is, whether it's real or not, whether it's based in fact or not, the perception is that trans women who have gone through male puberty definitely should not be participating in women's sports. And if you've got your junk still, I don't want to be blunt, if you've got your junk still, and you have no freaking business being in the ladies' locker rooms. Blunt reality. If you've got your junk, you haven't taken the steps necessary to go fully where you want, what it means to be a woman, then you have no business being in the women's locker rooms, bathrooms, or whatever. I don't care how much makeup you've got on. Is that harsh? Probably. But right now, we've got to get control of our own actions. Me, I can get around it. I can. I got that. I know that I've got a lot of privilege. I know that I've got access, and I've got whatever you want to call it, as long as I keep my mouth shut. But you know, we've got to start thinking more strategically, and we haven't been. We have been thinking. Too many of us have been thinking, oh, just about yourselves, just about what's going on with you. You don't live in an isolated environment, folks. I don't care how insular you are or how quiet you want to be about your life. Some things we can't do. Some things we can do. All right. But you're going to have to start thinking about the impact of your actions on the rest of us in this community, rather than just thinking, oh, it's about me, myself, and I, or they, them, and them. Whichever one. I don't care. We've got to face the reality that right now, those in leadership in this country don't want us around. We aren't going anywhere. We are not backing down. We are not doing the things that they want us to do. And just go out and be real with yourself, but also don't be an idiot. I know I've kind of gone all over the place with this today, and this is my first full one back. And I don't know how long I've been up here doing this right now today, but anyway, this has been fun. I've been at it for 35 minutes. I'm not setting this up to have a conversation with other people about it. I'm going to be talking about topics that I want to talk about. And this week it has been about the news that's coming out of the VA and out of that's the NIH and different government agencies, and also the state level, about all these different things that are coming against us and what their plans are. If you want to read and see what their plans really are, go look at the PDF document for Project 2025. All you have to do is read the forward to that thing by Dr. Roberts. I know that this administration said, no, we're not going to implement that. Well, whether or not they're following the plan, they've got people throughout their administration who came from the development of Project 2025, and we're seeing Project 2025 implemented at state and federal levels, period. Count on it. What's there, that's what they're going to work toward doing. That is their goal, folks, the elimination of all things, gender identity and sexual orientation from the whole SOGI, the SOGI, sexual orientation, gender identity field, and all those kind of things, all of it, they want it all gone. It's not going to stop with just one thing. They are doing things in an incremental way. You can see it across the country. You can see it in state houses. You can see it in the federal government. You can see how executive orders are issued one day, and then 2 or 3 days later, that executive order is strengthened again, and 2 or 3 days later, another thing is implemented that makes the last one even stronger. And they're moving everything slowly in the direction they want to go, but they're also trying to overwhelm the entire system so that you can't do much about it legally. You can't take them to court over it all. The Supreme Court is probably going to side with Trump on just about everything, minus a few. All these things running up to the Supreme Court, well, it's probably not going to go well. I know that's bleak, but that's what we're looking at. Question is, are you going to stand with me in the middle of the street, or are you going to cower in the corner? That's the question, folks. How strong are you? Now, it's more than that. There are a lot of factors that determine whether or not you can or will. I get that. There's all kinds of stuff out there, all kinds of reasons why someone could not or will not be able to stand out in the middle of the street. And I get it. And for those people, I give a big hug and say thank you for being there with us. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for standing with us all. But we've got to be visible. But we have to be visible in a respectful and a community-focused way. And by community, I don't just mean the trans veterans or trans Americans. I mean community as in, go get involved in DAV, your local chapter. Go help with the senior citizen stuff. Get out involved in that. And if you want to get out in your community and see what else is out there, go sign up for DoorDash. Geez, go pick up some orders and go deliver stuff as yourself. Find out what the other people, how they react to you. I'll tell you what it's like here in Eastern Kentucky. I do the DoorDash thing because I'm retired. I have to get out of the house every now and then. So I do the DoorDash thing. I go pick up orders. I've made friends at the different restaurants around town and stores and stuff like that. And I have, then I go out and make sure people get their product that they've ordered, and it's been fascinating because I haven't really run into anyone who is a real threat. Anyone here in the hollers. These are good people here. These are good people in this country, right here in Eastern Appalachia. These are good people right here who aren't all up in arms over, that trans person over yonder. Yeah, there's probably some out there who would do that, who are like that. But when I interact with them out in the community, no, Nope, no such thing. It's just, I mean, every engagement that I've had, I've been here over a year now, back here in Kentucky helping my family. And I've had zero bad interactions here. Nothing. Now, there are still some family who don't understand or whatever. And that's fine. They don't understand if they don't want it. And I get it. But the way that changes minds is not using a hammer over their head and saying, hey, this is who I am. Pow, 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 pow. No, that doesn't work, folks. You know how well that works. Yeah, right. Right. Not at all. So um, the thing that changes people's minds is how you are behaving around your families, around your communities, whether you're, just be real, be yourself, and don't make a big deal out of it. If somebody does something or says something wrong, just go on, Grandin, and go take a step forward. Okay. Well, I've been at it now for 40 minutes, and I think I just talked and talked and talked all over the place. Let me see, are there any chat options? Oh, look at there. Good morning. Hey, that's my cousin, Devana. Hi there. We should all strive to live our lives as a people, not subdivided minorities trying to get to the head of the line. That, Devana, you are so right about that. No one of us is better than or less than another, regardless of how we identify, regardless of how we may live our lives, even. Where no one should be given a special status. Now, I will take it back. In certain areas, there are certain times and places where that it becomes necessary to protect based on sex and sexual orientation, gender, race, ethnicity, because yes, those groups of people have generally experienced discrimination, and they have. I mean, that's just a fact. That's the reality of the thing. That's the case. But what we have to do, hey, Reba, so what we have to do is make sure that we're living our lives in a way that reflects strongly on our families, on our local communities, on our people, and let people decide for themselves how they wish to address you or talk to you or whatever, even though legally in every respect, I mean, from passport on down, everything about me says Cassandra Lee Williamson and female, okay? Everything. But then you've got the federal government going in there and saying that trans people can't exist, or remove, not allow them to present as themselves, which is wrong. And then the State Department yesterday put out something that says that if you are a trans person trying to enter the United States, not a U.S. citizen, then they may very well likely not let you in, because if you haven't got all your documentation and ducks in a row and you try to come into the country, they may deny you entrance to the country, which I find to be just asinine. But yeah, I mean, this is a tough time for a lot of people, and it's a challenge. And but we're also strong, all of us together. We're all strong, and we can handle this. But we've got to clear out the dummies. People who are making life miserable for us in our own community. Other trans people, other gender diverse people are doing crazy stuff out there. Well, if you do that, then what's happening is your story becomes the frontline story over on the right side, over on Fox News. Okay, that little incident, whatever it was you were doing, as horrible as it could have been, or whatever, it's making life miserable for all of us, and you're only thinking about yourself. So you got to stop that. But with that, I'm going to call it a day, and I thank everyone for tuning in and watching, and me just babble. There's so many things to talk about, so many things that have been going on. that, geez, I just wanted to let you know that I see you, I hear you, I understand you, and I'm going to be me no matter what, whether people accept it or not. I mean, that's on them. That's not on me. It's not my business. It's not my job to tell somebody that you got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. No, you just make enemies of everybody. So, yeah, Bobby, thank you so much. Be a part of the community. We are survivors. Absolutely. Our strength gives them, let me go right here. Our strength gives them the courage to learn and fight for their own insecurity. Be a part of the community. We are survivors. Yes, yes, we are. Absolutely. We've been through hell and high water, folks. And absolutely. Geez, we've got this. Give yourself lots of grace. Give yourself lots of grace, but give others lots of grace too, folks. And with that, I'm calling.